जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ಲಕ್ನೋ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
হায়দ্রাবাদ 50 এক্সপ্রেস পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. The last time these two teams met, Romario Shepherd hit 32 runs. He hammered 32 runs in the last over. This word hammered has been used a lot this IPL. We saw the record-breaking match yesterday. And after yesterday's match, Simon, who's with us, said that he wants a nice long break on the weekend after what he witnessed, which is why along with Simon, we've got Joyda in the house to give him 2 nice days of double headers. Joyda, welcome to the studio.
Yeah, that's all we're looking forward to,
Yes.
double headers. I am actually.
Weekends are always exciting. There's double the fun.
Exactly.
But yesterday, are you over what happened yesterday?
Look, there is a Society for the Prevention of SPCA, have you heard of? Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I want to start an SPCB, Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Bowlers, because that is not,
Yes.
it's not fair.
Harsha said that he wants the batters to give a fund for shelter for the bowlers.
Yeah, absolutely. Homeless bowlers shelter, absolutely.
Yes. So, Simon, you asked for it. You wanted a nice long break. You also threatened to leave. So, we will see if you'll be leaving
I've got
the
about,
studio.
What have I got, about
10
5
minutes?
or 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes before we get the teams up.
Yes.
And if he's not there, I'm out. I'm done. That's it.
We'll know soon because do you know that
Caught
you
up on
threatened
this.
to leave?
If Lazard Williams is not playing in place of Anrik Nortje, I said I would leave the studio. That would be me. So you
It's
may
just
be on
us.
your own. You may be on your own for a double. I'm sorry, George.
I'm sorry, double header day.
I'm sorry to do it.
He's going to walk out after 7 minutes.
I'm going to stage a coup
but
and walk
he
out.
gave this warning. He gave this warning to us yesterday, saying that that's
Okay.
what it's going to be.
I'm much more nervous about today than even Ricky Ponting is. I'm now really worried.
Well, we've got news from the centre. MI have won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. Any surprise there? It's a day game, so, they won't chase down.
I'm surprised in a day game, to be honest. The last thing you want to be doing is put your whole team out in the heat. It can affect your batting point of view as well sometimes. I won't go as hard as I went yesterday because I was completely wrong with Sam Curran and Punjab yesterday. But I think in a day game, I do prefer the bat first option just to get the runs on the board. The surface doesn't change too much unless they think it'll slow down a little bit with the afternoon heat on it and may take some turn into the early parts of the evening. That might be the only reason. They haven't, they've been a bit here nor there, batting first or bowling first, Mumbai, to be honest with you. So maybe their preferred option is just to chase. But in an afternoon game, I would generally prefer to bat first.
But Joyda, is it also maybe because they have more confidence with their batting, so they want to put their bowlers out and then we'll chase whatever
I think right now, given what the kind of team they have, or what we almost thought was a super team at the start of the tournament, I think they're a tentative team right now. They've won 3, then they lost again, and they're not quite sure of where they are. Cracks are beginning to show, and these cracks are not just, all the cracks seem to be about the captaincy issue.
Yeah.
That can't be the only thing that's happening out there. There are other weaknesses which other teams are exploiting. So I think the only logical explanation I can think of is they're not sure of the surface.
Because Pant at the toss said that he'd like to have batted first because he thinks it's going to slow down in the second half.
That's the point I was making. I wonder whether it will slow down because of the afternoon sun. So batting in the second innings against some high quality spin,
True.
It might prove a little more difficult. So I'm surprised that they've given the advantage away, but I won't go too hard because I looked like a fool last night. So.
He made a public
I can't be doing that every day.
I need you to speak as much as possible because after this I might lose you anyway.
So make the most of Simon, right? Make the most of Simon.
I want to use him as much as I can.
But he did. Both Harsha and Simon put out their public apologies yesterday. Hopefully, we don't need public apologies
Hopefully
today.
not.
But Joyda, I want to look at the points table because this is the 10th game that Delhi will be playing, and if MI win this, they'll still stay at the same position, right?
Same position. If they win really well, No, they'll jump over Punjab. That's all.
Okay.
They'll jump to 8th place, but that's about as much as they can do because the amount of run rate they have to make up, they're not going to get over Gujarat. Okay, so from 9th they can come to 8th. Delhi can go straight up and at least join the toppers out there. They can go right up beyond Lucknow. So they'll probably jump a position again. So we are talking about one position jumps, but this is not about one position jumps. It's not about what you'll get if you win. It's about what will happen when you lose. And I think that is the critical thing with this. If Mumbai loses, they become 3 and 6. Effectively, after that, every match they lose is every match after that is a knockout. Okay. Similarly, Delhi is 4 and 5 because they played one match more. If Delhi lose, they're also 4 and 6. In which case, all their remaining 4 matches are knockout matches.
Correct.
So what happens today is that today whoever wins gives themselves a little bit of wiggle room. Whoever loses, it's basically then a knockout.
Yeah.
1-1-1-1. I have to win each one.
Joyda, when you were saying all this, I was intently listening, but I was also doing because Simon's not going to be leaving us today.
Oh, let's have a big
That's
hand.
the good news. Well done, Simon. This is only because we didn't want you to leave Cricbuzz and we didn't want you to leave the
Apparently,
studio.
Kallal made a few calls to Delhi right now.
He made the few calls and Mr. Williams will be playing today's game.
Wow.
And Nokia
The
sits
things
out.
they do for Cricbuzz people.
Yeah.
I think there was some higher up management made a phone call and said, listen, we can't afford to do the show with just 2 people.
It's the government,
That's
Mr. Sarkar, who runs Cricbuzz. He made the calls. But talking about both these teams, Delhi, after the last time they met Mumbai, they've won 3 out of the 4 games. The last 3 games, they bundled up GT for 89. Then there was like this comprehensive loss to SRH. And then the last ball win against GT. So they've got a mixed bag in the last 3 games that they've played. But this is the 10th game they're playing. Why haven't they come together as a team? What's gone wrong?
They've had ins and outs a little bit, obviously with Marsh going missing, Warner now injured. They probably the lineup they started with in game number 1 and 2, they thought was title contenders. They probably thought it was a very strong side. Norkia's had an off season. When your key overseas bowler, your impact bowler, is not taking wickets and he's going, I think in 4 overs, in the last over of the game, 4 times he's gone and he's going at over 100. So he's gone for 23-24 on average in the last over of the innings on 4 occasions. So that's been really tough for them. They've had a couple of standout performers. I think Akshar's been brilliant. I think Kuldeep's been very good. RishabhPant coming back has been superb. So they've had some very good performances, Tristan Stubbs as well. But they haven't got the sum of all parts firing as a unit yet. That's been their biggest issue. And obviously when you lose key players, you have to try and fill holes, and they just haven't been able to do it.
And Joyda, for MI, they've had a season which, they don't want to remember. We know that MI always starts slowly, but this season they don't seem to have, just like Delhi, come together as a unit. And you spoke about it. The cracks seem to be much deeper than just the captaincy issue. Gilly spoke about it in the last match. He said that the body language was horrible of the MI fielders, just false bravado. And do you all feel the same, that, it's more than just the captaincy controversy?
No, it's more than that. And I think what happens is things spiral. One small thing. So I remember, Trevor, who's now the coach of Punjab and a very successful coach with Kolkata, won 2 titles. He was once talking about it and he said 2-3 things. He says, all IPL squads are potentially almost championship winning squads. If maybe not 10 in a year, maybe at least 4 or 5, you look at them and say, they could win this. The difference is 3 things, he says. And very interesting. One is about how well the team gels, which we are going to talk about Mumbai. The second is luck, which plays a huge part, whether you like it or you don't like it. For example, in 2014, Chennai was a strong favourite, and then basically Suresh Raina's chasing down 200 against Punjab, and he gets run out. Things like that that happened. Okay, and the third is injuries. So in Delhi's case, one of the biggest problems they've had is injuries have derailed them all the time. So Mitch Marsh gets injured. Okay.
With Mitch Marsh, you always know there's going to be an injury,
Mukesh.
Unfortunately. Yes.
Kuldeep has missed. So when the matches they lost, 3 of those matches Kuldeep was missing. So you're talking about key personnel missing. So moment you have consistent injuries among your first 11, then you're always scrambling to cover one person or the other. You don't know who's out. So that is a huge part of what's happening to Delhi. Punjab is having. So if you look at now, say you look at somebody like Rajasthan, they haven't really lost any key person to injury for a long, long time. I think the one person they missed out for a while was, I think, Sandeep Sharma was injured for a bit. That's about it. Everyone else was there in the field. They managed to cover Josh Butler's injury also because they had the impact players up to use. So what I'm saying is injuries derailed Delhi, has played a part, because if Surya had been there from match one, you don't know what would have happened. You know, there's at least one, every second innings he produces a match-winning innings, right? So that's one. And the second is just nobody is very sure of. See, one of the things is it's not just about captaincy. Sometimes everyone knows everyone knew in Mumbai who to go to when they needed to talk about their sorrows, their lives, their whatever happens to them. And that guy probably is telling them, dude, I'm not the guy to speak to now. That guy's your captain.
Well, let's have a look at the teams now, because like you said, it's about just things coming together. For MI, there's one change. We'll have a look at Mumbai's playing 11. I'm told that Koitse's got a stomach bug. We don't know what food he ate, and Luke Wood comes in. Simon is...
Well, Gaurav Kapoor certainly didn't order his dinner. I can tell you that much. That is one thing for sure. He needs to come here and start eating some good food. That will help him, that's for sure.
Well,
Luke Wood, I like Luke Wood. He's got there's a lot about him. He didn't start the tournament very well, and then obviously got left out. Got good pace, so it's a nice change. But they will miss Coetzee's anger and his aggression, which is one thing I've been really impressed with. Even though he's gone for runs at times, he's certainly got that aggression to sort of try and back up Jasprit Bumrah. So Wood's job's going to have to be up front. They can probably, if Luke Wood bowls well in the power play, it's something that Coetzee doesn't often do, bowl more than one inside that power play. If Luke Wood bowls well with the brand new ball, he could bowl 2, maybe even 3 overs in the power play, which is something that would allow them, if they picked up a wicket or 2 with him, it would allow them to leave Bumrah till a little bit later. You know, especially that 2nd and 3rd over for him. At times they've had to use Bumrah early. I like him for 1 over up front, but at times they've had to use him for 2. But if he just bowls 1 and Wood bowls well, they can perhaps leave Bumrah for 1 in the middle and then 2 at the back end without having to rush him back if they get in trouble. So that's something they'll be looking for from Luke Wood. But I'm not surprised they haven't made any other changes if that's the only way to go.
We'll have a look at Delhi's playing 11. The reason why Simon's still here with us talking and chatting, because there is no Nokia and Lizard Williams is in.
And Prithvi Shaw.
And
they're batting first as well, so that's their lineup. Kumar Kushkara comes in, so no Prithvi Shaw.
That's a big
interesting. It's a big one, because there was no injury announcement, because the injury announcement was made yesterday, and it was told that Warner and Ishant, the 2 people injured. So the decision. Look, they paid a lot of money for Kumar Kushkara. They paid, I think, 7.4 crores from him. Kid from Jharkhand.
Yes.
Here's a fascinating story. You know, his father, I think, is an engineer in Ranchi, in one of those engineering firms, and he wanted to teach his son. So he couldn't find the right coach because he felt the coaches there didn't know enough. So he got Bob Bulmer's book on cricket coaching, and he took it from there, and he basically translate it and tell these guys what to do with his son. But I mean, he was a hot prospect. They bought him in. They really went after him in the auction. So he's finally got his chance. So let's see what he's made of.
Well, Joyda Simon, the other wicketkeeper bat who plays for Jharkhand,
there are actually 3 of them.
Yes. I think Ishan Kishan is someone who's going to need some jaldi cooling, because he's not really had big knocks that they're looking at. So I want to go to our experts and ask them for their coolest advice, powered by Crompton Air Coolers Jaldi Cooling. Joyda Simon, his strike rate's been very good, but his average is all of 24. And for MI, they need him to go big. Or do you think this is probably the role they've given him, that go hard and don't worry about going big, but go hard?
Look, my advice to him is do exactly what you're doing right now, because the point of it is that with a lineup like that, the only way you can take advantage of that lineup is the top 2-3 players have to go hard. And in fact, if you have anyone in the holding role there, I'd say Tilak Verma is the one person in that lineup who strikes at a 150 and still seems to be not taking too many risks. But the others are all going for it, and they have to go for it, because that's today's game. If you see 250s and 260s being chased down, telling any batsman to be careful and start playing out overs is not going to work.
But Simon, also, the boarding pass that you've been very frugal in giving. Do you think Ishan Kishan, as wicketkeeper bat, is at least getting a visa in, if not the waiting lounge?
He's quite a way down the pecking order, I think. I mean, probably... I had Jitesh ahead of him before the start of the tournament. He's probably nudged ahead of Jitesh. He's probably at number 4 on the list if you think Pant, KL and Sanju Samson. He might be at number 4 on the list now. Strike rate, very impressive. And if that's his role, if that's what he's been told to do, then no problem with it. The best place to bat in this format of the game is at the top of the order. We all know that. So from an opening batting point of view, you'd like to think if your strike rate's around that 155, 160 mark and above, if you could average close to 30, you're doing more than a good job for your team. I mean, early 20s is a little bit low, but if you could get that to 28, 29 and still strike at 160, that's doing your job. In my opinion, that is doing your job for your team inside the power play because you're getting your team off to flying starts. When they're both going, as Joy said, the impact sub has allowed teams to bat a lot deeper. So I think the message for most of the opening combinations in this tournament now is just go because we have the cover. We have the ability to cover for you. And, I think Mumbai have got that cover. So he would like it. I would like it to see, in the late 20s if you're going to strike at 160 and above. But at the moment, he's getting the odd flyer for them. And that certainly sets them in good stead.
Well, he's not handing over that boarding pass, Joyda. But what does Ishan Kishan do? Because the central contract's not with him anymore. IPL probably is the only place he needs to kind of get into great form to knock on doors which have been shut down.
I think, look, he's got to play this IPL. His chances in this World Cup are distant.
Yes. Because
they're at least, as he said, at least 3 ahead of him. And after that, if you look at that, I think what he really needs to do is go back and play for Jharkhand. Yeah. I mean, though Kumar Kushagra is also there, but I think Kumar Kushagra will be very happy to slip over and allow Ishan. He just has to play domestic cricket at this point in time. I think there's a whole movement in Indian cricket where they're looking at it and saying these young kids, they're going to play just 2 tournaments a year, play just T20 matches. And one of the byproducts of that is, A, they're not fit, B, they're not giving back to the system.
Correct.
And it is a debatable issue, but I think at this point in time, if he wants to calm people about where he is, where he's not, I think he needs to go back and play a bit of domestic cricket.
There should be some sort of caveat in your IPL contract, I think.
Yes.
And I know that the BCI are looking at these sorts of things and they want these players, their aspiration needs to be India. Their aspiration shouldn't be IPL. Their aspiration should be the very, very top.
Yes.
Now, if IPL comes and India comes after that, that's great. But at the moment, I think there's a lot of young players around this country whose aspiration is just IPL. And therefore, they feel they don't have to do the hard yards. And there are so many cricketers in India doing the hard yards in Ranji Trophy. And they are hard yards. They're playing 4-day cricket constantly in the heat and never get an opportunity for an IPL contract. And some of these young players who come through and are just got their eye on IPL only, they're not giving back. And they're getting paid a huge sum of money. And I think there needs to be some sort of clause or something in there that you must be playing domestic cricket, at least half the games or something along those lines. To me, that is something they need to look at. And I think they get pretty much everything right, the BCI. This tournament it's a beast. It's grown and grown and grown. It's an amazing tournament, provides so much for every young cricketer. The WPL is doing the same thing for young female cricketers as well at the moment. But there's a couple of little things that I think need to be given back to those guys who have worked their backsides off in Ranji Trophy cricket. They need to see that level of commitment coming from the top level back to them. So that's something I'd like to see, because the other thing is, if you just continue to play only T20, your game doesn't improve.
True.
You don't know how to work the ones. When situations get tough, when you start to play on a tired surface, and maybe in the last month of the tournament, we might see the odd surface just get a little slower and a little lower. We're hoping that we don't see 260s every day. And how do you work the spinners around when that's going well? If all you're doing is trying to slog them out of the ground, you don't understand the nuances of working the ball around and being able to take ones and get off strike and rotate the strike. And you don't understand a 165 game, a 170 game. So that's the one thing that you learn, I think, when you go back to 4-day cricket or domestic cricket. And so I'd like to see not only Ishan Kishan, he's not the only
Yes.
one. There are a few others, but you want India to be the pinnacle.
Well, I think this is very cool advice by Simon and Joyda that go back and play domestic cricket because, like Simon said, you need this for the future of Indian cricket. We had asked all of you all to come in and give your advice and your coolest advice. So let's see who our winners for today are. Hardik says, my coolest advice to Mumbai Indians captain Hardik Pandya is Nehal Vadera is a good batsman. Promote him and shepherd in the squad. He can play as an all-rounder role. Start the bowling with Tushara. He can take the couple of wickets in the power play. It's a lot of advice, Hardik. Let's see what's next. Oh, we have Dr. Akshay Official telling us that my coolest advice for the Mumbai captain Hardik sir is he should promote Tim David to number 4. Brevish should be used as an impact player. Piyush Chawla should bowl 2 power play overs to build pressure on Delhi batting unit. Thank you, Dr. Akshay, for that. Well, very filled advice that we've
Very
got.
specific,
Very specific
yeah, very.
advice. But congratulations to both of you all. You all were the winners for today's coolest advice, powered by Crompton Air Coolers, Jaldi Cooling. But you all know the drill now. In case you all have any advice which is so pointed, so serious, or just quirky, funny, anything, write into us on Twitter and share your hashtag coolest advice to win big prizes powered by Crompton Air Coolers, Jaldi Cooling. We are always waiting in. So Jaldi se write in because there are 2 winners per contest. So we're waiting in for your X's to come in. Somebody cool that I want to talk about after our coolest advice that you all have given is Akshar Patel, because he was a surprise package. No David Warner was a surprise. The double surprise was to see Akshar come in at number 3 and then get that 66, pull Delhi out of this hole that they had dug themselves into that last match.
No, absolutely. And I think it's long awaited. We've been talking about the fact that you cannot, a guy who's won games for India with the bat, cannot be batting at 7 for his domestic team, especially if your domestic team has a batting order before that Delhi has at this point in time. So I think it's fantastic to promote Akshar. I think he said something about it. Was there a quote about it or
yes,
something?
we'll have a look at what Akshar had to say. This is what he said. Joyda, you asked for it and we have it ready for you. But this is before the game where he said that that's Rishabh, Dada and Ricky Ponting have talked about it. I can play early, but if you want to give the chance to a young player, then you have to give them their position. But because of that, which is the impact player, I have to come down the order. Not a big fan of it because as an all-rounder, I know that they will either take a proper bat or a bowler, not an all-rounder. Simon, lots has been said about an all-rounder kind of losing his position. So there's one all-rounder who's coming out and saying it now.
Yeah, look, I mean, the good ones, the genuine ones who offer both bat and ball, not the sort of half and half. They're still playing a big role in the tournament. I think he's one of them. Krunal's another. Jadeja's another. There are enough people that still play a full role in the tournament. It's that one that bowls 1 or 2 overs. The Shivam Dubey,
Yes.
who's not getting to bowl because they can bring a bowling or impact substitute in. So it's not the genuine all-rounder that's missing out. I think it's more the part-time of one suit. So a guy that can bowl really well and bat a little bit. He might kind of be missing out. But look, I'm not a massive fan of it. I just think the way the game is going and the power and the small boundaries, which we talked about last night, we can probably say that it's changed the game a little bit too much in favour of the batting side. That's probably the one thing I will say about it. But Akshar's a genuine all-rounder. He can win you a game with the bat and with the ball. That's why he's got a boarding pass for me.
Well, from you and from Saurav Ganguly, he said that he's in as well.
Yeah, I mean, Saurav Ganguly should be saying it. He's not going to say that, somebody else is going to make. No, I have one other genuine point, okay, which is apropos of nothing. You have a situation where you are saying that if you are Delhi, what you're doing, you're trying to play your 7 best batters. Now, if Akshar is your best batter at 3 or Akshar deserves to play at that position, whether you're giving a youngster a chance or not is not the more important thing. Your job at this point in time is first and foremost to win matches.
Correct.
very often what happens is, and it happens to all captains, even the best of captains, that when you have somebody who's an all-rounder, in your head you think, he's going to get bowling.
Yeah.
It's not a question of whether he's going to get bowling or not. He deserves to bat at 4 if he deserves. That's why I say in that sense, Kolkata have done it well. They feel Ramandeep is, if tomorrow they said that, no, Ramandeep should bat up front because Sunil Narayan can also bowl.
Yes.
He'll get bowling. Would you then put back Sunil Narayan at 7?
The team has to be first,
It's
correct?
not a good decision. You're doing it because then you think that Aksar will definitely bowl as well.
Yeah.
I don't need to give him that chance. But it's not a question of giving chance. It's a question of playing what is the best lineup for your 11. And I think that's where I feel, I know they like Abhishek Porel, but I don't think with Aksar, with the experience he has, it just gives them more at 3.
Well, someone who has a whole lot of experience, and there's a whole lot of dependency on this experience for MI. We've spoken about this so many times. Jasprit Bumrah, who's exceptional. He is at the death, just you give the ball to Bumrah, he's there. But these figures here, we've spoken about how if Bumrah has an off day, then what? And we saw that in the last match, Simon.
Yeah, we did. And that's the key for them. I mean, those numbers are just phenomenal. When you look at Coetzee's numbers are not bad. I mean, if you in this tournament, when you think about the runs that have been going at the back end of the tournament, to be under 10 is still a very, very good result. Tushara just the 1 over in that previous game that he got and went for 5, so that was exceptional as well. But Mapaka, obviously the 1 game. Luke Wood, he was expensive when he played. Hardik has been expensive. Madhwal, really, really expensive. So that's where they have struggled. So that may be where Tushara, Bumrah, I'm not sure about Luke Wood at the back end, but that's maybe where they will go more often. If they could save 3 or 4 overs from those 2 at the back end, then I think they're in the game.
But Joyda, who else do you think can bowl? Like he said, we keep both of them and get 3 or 4. But with MI, every time there's trouble, you look at Bumrah, because who else do you go to with the ball?
I think, that's a genuine issue. I still felt Coetzee is the person, Coetzee gave them the most, and he has got aggression. And remember, again, if you look at Mumbai has always been successful when there's somebody been at the other end as well.
Yes.
So, if you've had a Malinga, you had a Mitch Johnson and a Malinga. You've had a Bumrah and a Malinga. You've had 2 guys going really hard up front. And Mumbai has always placed a premium on good international fast bowlers because they wanted that one other guy who was there in support. And the kind of pitches that they have in their home ground, they need those kind of bowlers, for their 7 games. So I still feel, Coetzee was doing the job for me. I don't think the problem is with him. I think the problem is just the way that they need to organize the other bowlers around them.
They can't win this year. They've never ever won a title without a New Zealand left armour. So you knew as soon as the auction came out, you knew Mumbai couldn't win. So anyone that was out there that thought Mumbai could win it.
So Bolt was the last one in 20.
Bolt was the last one. Yeah. Think about the others.
That's quite a stat.
They have never ever won a title without a New Zealand left armour in their squad.
So that Trevor Franklin, who was in there?
James Franklin, Mitch McClenaghan.
Sorry,
Mitch McClenaghan, Trent Bolt. Always been a Kiwi left armour in their squad. So they can't win.
We know what MI need to do in the auction.
That's it.
Just look for a Kiwi left arm.
Well, they let him go. They let Bolt go, didn't they?
Yes, they let Bolt go.
I'm thinking further. If somebody is hearing this, there could be an injury replacement very soon. I'm thinking, look.
We know MI is superstitious, so we know that if somebody it's always someone listening to Cricbuzz Live and taking these cues. So next game,
If somebody goes down, if an international bowler goes down the next 2 days, I'm going to come to you.
I wonder how bad that stomach bug is.
What? Who's ordered the food, Simon? I wonder now. Who's ordered that food?
Oh dear.
But Joyda, yesterday we were discussing how you gave us a nice half volley outside the off stump in your joy factor question yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they both got it in 10 seconds of me reading it.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at what you've got us today.
Today's this is a tricky one. Which current Indian cricketer's first wicket for a franchise team was Mohammad Hafiz?
Ooh.
It tells you some things, but perhaps it doesn't tell you.
Well, it tells us it's a tricky one because you've told us
Yeah.
it's a tricky one.
Yeah, and I have to, but I also have a personal apology, which is that I actually got caught out 2 days back. I told you Swapnil Asnotkar was actually scored the highest, which is 60 on debut. As it turned out, last year Vivrant Sharma scored 69 on debut as well. So all of you who have answered Vivrant Sharma, my apologies.
Public apology,
Public
number 3.
apology.
It's been a couple of days for us, hasn't it?
It's been a couple of days for us. But also,
Did you hear yesterday's one?
I heard yes.
Yes. 9 million people
Yes.
were up in arms.
I don't know
on
if Harsha
X.
slept or he went on his flight directly.
don't
He must
know,
have had
I'm
a
not
sleepless night after that. But well, who has had a sleepless night is me, because there's Gaurav Kapoor on our back and there's Simon who's right here. And I'm getting very stressed out because it's a double header, so I have to get one right, Joyda.
I'm not doing badly either. I'm not too far from you either.
Oh, Simon's below Joyda.
Yeah, I'm
How did
below
that
you
happen?
now because up yesterday. Two
Oh.
wrong yesterday.
So I've got both of you on my back. So I,
I
don't
went
think anyone's
237 yesterday and thought, they can't be. It can't get
go
more than
high.
237. And I gave Salmi the option. I said, "Do you want to go high? Or do you want to go?" And she went low. She went low. She could have gone higher.
Okay, so there's no one supporting anyone today. We all need wins. So Joyda, go first because you've had a break. First ball was a 4. Just giving you that.
Fine, but it's Delhi. I don't trust Delhi's batting order. 199.
Oh, 199.
I was going to go somewhere there.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you go next. Go
No,
on.
no, you go next.
Go on. Go.
I will go with 212.
212. I'll go 229.
Wow.
Ooh.
One person who says he doesn't trust Delhi's batting today and one who's gone with 229. Okay, the pressure is on. We have to get a win in today and we have to go and eat our lunch now. We will be joining you all at the 10 over point with all the updates. So we will see you all at the Cricbuzz com box.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad को 50 एक्सप्रेस পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो